5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.
All right. How's everybody doing? Happy Friday. It's a beautiful day here in Manhattan. It's just golden sunset is about to start, the golden hour. I love it. It's Friday. We're in this holiday season, which, you know, I'm fully invested in the holidays. I'm really glad to be here. I got lots of friends and people are, you know, doing well. And in this crazy circus of life, you know, there's still signs of goodness and decency out there at the holiday time. Hopefully people chill just a tad more than normal and, you know, maybe hold the door open for somebody that you wouldn't think to. I'm one of those goofs who always holds the door, and people nowadays sometimes will give you the dirty look. I don't know if I'm patronizing or anything, but I grew up, my mom would have like given me a crack if I hadn't held the door for some lady. So I'm sitting here scanning the news while I'm talking about this. And as always, I try to bring you something good news, but well, they say that payroll and wages have blown past expectations. Whoa, look at that. We have crashing light objects. God, I'm having poltergeist activity here. Christ. All right. Well, I don't know what. I mentioned something political and there's lights falling on me. It could be a conspiracy of kind. So one bit of good news is if you're a kid. Now, when I was a kid, this would have been cool. Homework will soon be a thing of the past. I don't know about you. I had two kids. They hated homework. When I was a kid, I hated homework. All I wanted to do was bang on the drum all day. And here she is, the girl from Wilshire Boulevard, Toby Wan Kenobi. Hey, baby. What's happening, Toby? I just saw your list of great special events. For anybody watching, Toby Simmons, the girl from Wilshire, is she's got her pulse, her finger on the pulse. A little tight there, Toby. He's up. She has her finger on the pulse of music everywhere, worldwide, here in the neighborhood, and shit like Mr. Rogers. She's hanging and happy in the neighborhood down in the valley. So yes, homework's going to be a thing of the past. Hollywood stars, fashion influencers. This is all the folks at the state dinner. I really don't care. Kanye has been suspended again for posting a swastika. Please, someone rescue him. He's got Kardashian brain and he's sinking. I mean, in all seriousness, I don't like the guy's anti-Semitic BS. That crap gets on my nerves. Hey, Terry. No, I don't want to leave the site. What is this crazy stuff from Google? Terry, it's good to see you, as always. Getting back to it, you know, he's just too much of a crazy guy. Siri heard me talking about Kanye and his racism and is popping up weird shit here. Thank you, Apple. Go to sleep, Siri, please. So I'm trying to do the show here. There's not much good news, but at least there's some entertaining news. There is now an exorcist says porn addiction is an opening to the demonic. I don't know. I'm going to just stay out of all religious discussions through the holidays. Gina, the lovely and talented Gina. All right, man, all my favorite people are popping in. So it does say porn addiction is opening it to demonic pressures. My God. I somehow hearing priests talk to me about porn addiction opening demonic urges. I'm just not going to go there too far down that road or dark hallway. It's just, guys, let the priests get married. Jesus. Oops, what am I doing? I'm sitting here. It's Bandcamp Friday. That's right, Toby. So the Royals are having a kerfluffle. There's a bunch Apparently, there's a royal heading to L.A. Renfield or Igor, I don't even know which one. Harry, there's whoever, the one that's living in L.A. and partying it up. It is good news. Toby, why don't you tell everybody exactly what is Bandcamp Friday today? And then we're going to drag our great guest on in a few minutes. You guys are wondering, we have a killer guest, one of my favorite guests, and I think you're going to dig it. Phil Parlapiano. And I got that right the first time I said his name, and I was like going, oh, man, thank God I got this guy's name right. You know, I want to hear how Rod Stewart introduced him. All right, it's Phil Parlapiano. I'm not sure quite how he does it. I'll have to grill him about that one. So anything good here? Well, the world's oldest tortoise has seen 2 world wars in the British Empire and decades of British dental failures. I'm sorry, it didn't say anything about their dentistry. Okay, that's a cheap Trudeau's coming for Canadians' guns, and some provinces refuse to help. You know, I really like it up in Canada, and I love the people, and they're like Americans who haven't gone completely out of their mind. They're polite most of the time. But I'll tell you what, just like in America, we have our hillbillies with guns. Trust me, I'm not going up there, tell a bunch of mountain men I'm taking their shotgun away. They live up in the woods, man, you know. And I've seen Deliverance, and I don't know if there's a Canadian version, but now we have the true story. I'm moving on through this plethora of great news. We have Toby's telling us the artists get 100% without fees. And, you know, that's pretty cool. What they need to do, though, is make that, I think they have to take the whole equation. The percentage they're getting, they should switch with what they give the musicians. That's me. Call me silly, but I'm kind of sympathetic for the people who are sitting scratching around in small rooms like mine, trying to write a song, trying to get it pitched to somebody at Netflix, all the crap. Hey, Audrey, thank you for showing up. Phil's great. He really is. He's sitting in the green room. He's going, man, this guy can talk all day long. And I can, but there's no good news, so we're not going to do that. I say, damn the torpedoes. Phil Parlapiano.
Hello. How you doing? How you doing, Neil?
How are you today?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day. A little cold out here in Studio City, California, but you know.
Okay, you're in Studio City. Very lovely. I had great lunch there at this Mexican restaurant downtown.
Oh yeah, there's some really good places.
It was superb.
We have good Mexican out here. That's the first thing I did whenever I come from out of town, especially over the country.
Right.
Out of the country, I always have Mexican food because they do not know how to make Mexican food anywhere else. But
no, they don't. You know, there's a couple of places in New York. And to me, if you go to a place and you have to spend $50, it's not authentic Mexican.
No, it's supposed to be
beans and rice,
food.
and you know. Although the place in New York, in typical New York and LA fashion, for the beautiful people and their beautiful dogs, their big thing was selling grasshopper crickets.
Oh yeah, I want to have that.
I had one. I had to. I went on a date that was it was the hellish thing. I'd tell the story, but it'd take too much. The bottom line, though, is I said, I got to have one. Tequila was involved. And the truth is, it just tasted like a crunchy taco. I put a crap load of hot sauce on it. The only problem was these things were like $8 a piece when you know.
Yeah, they don't cost that much. They're really cheap, actually, to make.
Well, I would think they should cost a lot less than that. You know, I can see at least with a carne asada, you're getting something, you know, to fill you up. But the carne asada I had out there was just the best. I mean, you have to go to California or Texas or even Colorado, you'll have much better Mexican food.
Oh yes.
Florida's Texas. Great. Very I used to go down to the places where, you know, the locals would go.
Yes.
When my kids were little, like 4 and 7, I would take them to this little place to kind of down on the edge of the barrio. And there'd always be this cat sitting in the back corner, and he'd be like liquored up. He'd just smile at everybody all day. He wasn't moving, you know. Once in a while, they'd bring him another cerveza and load him up. But he's a nice guy, and he always loved to wave at the kids and stuff. He wasn't a creeper or anything. And so my young daughter was very shy. And when I'd say, let's go have some Mexican food. And for a while, she'd go, well, I don't want to go to Uncle Juan's, because that's what I called the old guy in the back. And my daughter and my older daughter, she would like joke around with, you know, Captain Buzzman in the back. Tell you, just look at him. And she's like, he smiled at me. I said, it's because he thinks you're cute. You know, give him, wave about him. He's not going to bother you. At any rate, it was always funny because we'd go in there and they had the best. I mean, 4 of us back in those days, 20 years ago, we'd eat for like $20. If that,
Oh yeah,
with
that's great.
tip and everything, and me having a few beers.
Nice. That's amazing. Yeah, you can't do that now.
No. I mean, even a sandwich is $15.
Oh yeah, no, we go out out in Los Angeles. My wife and I go out for lunch, and we usually share something, and it costs $40.
Right.
Yeah, even
when I was out there,
Yeah.
Gina Adams introduced me to some fantastic taco place just down on the edge of town, and it was like excellent.
Mhm.
I will tell you, I inhaled that burrito like.
Oh yeah,
it's the best. So enough about all the great gastronomic things in LA. What are you doing lately? What's new and exciting in your daily
Well, I just
life?
came back from Europe, the old country, where I was out with Kiefer Sutherland. We were out for 6 weeks. We played a lot of Germany and a lot of the UK.
Great.
And it was a good trip. I think that like we played a lot of good music. Unfortunately, a lot of us got there's a little bit of a flu going around there. Hello, Terry.
I picked that up in LA.
Yeah, no,
it's nasty.
There's something going around. And it's long lasting. I still have a cough. And
I did too. And
there it is. Right
I went
there.
to LA
Yeah.
and it was terrible. My poor hostess had to listen to me blowing my nose. I went
lots
it
of
was
congestion.
horrible. I mean, I'm still doing it, and I'm here a month later.
Yeah, it's
if I
in
start
the air.
hacking.
So
that was good. How were you guys received over in Germany and so forth? Did Kiefer, does he do good over there?
Yeah, he does really well over there.
Excellent.
He has a lot of good fans. We have a lot of fans follow me on my Facebook feed on Sunday mornings at 10.
Of course.
And there's about 12 of them. A few people from Italy, a few people from Germany, a few people from Switzerland. So it's and so they liked him and they like me, and so it's nice.
That's great.
They're very. A lot of times they would all come together and just fill the front row. All have matching T-shirts. It was It was a little funny, but it really gets the crowd going.
The fans really are different in Europe. They're just so much more grateful and polite, and I mean that because I've seen it in all kinds of, even on rap gigs and stuff. It's just it's like I notice a lot of my friends' bands, like all over the country, they go to Europe and they'll do the festivals in the summer, and they get treated great.
Yes.
In the meantime, they'll come back to the States and they're hustling because it's a different appreciation of the arts at a root level.
There is. It's very different. I think a lot of it has to do with the education system. When you and I were growing up, there was a lot of music education, and not only just. Actually, when I was growing up, there was no popular music education whatsoever. It was just classical and a little bit of jazz. And everybody thought that was a little square, and we were kind of like upset about it. But in reality, when you learn that music, yes, it works your brain.
It does.
Pop music does not work your brain. Pop music is pop because it's visceral. It's all heart.
Exactly. It's like a jangly love song is a jangly love song that makes people feel happy.
It's not educating you. You listen to Mozart and Beethoven and Rachmaninoff, and this is intellectualizing your brain cells. And I think that the parents our age misread how important that was to our upbringing. Yes, I really did.
Did your family encourage you growing up? Were your family?
A lot of people ask me that question, and they go, "Were you in a musical family?" And I go, "No." But in reality, when I think about it, it's like everybody in my. I only grew up with my parents, my mom and my dad, and my grandmother, and they all played music, but not professionally. But my grandmother was the one who taught me how to play the piano, and I've been going through her stuff recently, and I just found that she had written a song. I'm gonna pull that out and play it one of these Sundays. Yeah, it's like she was Spanish, so she wrote a tango.
All right.
Yeah, so she was exactly. She was way more musically talented than I thought. And my mom used to sing, and my dad played the violin because he played in high school orchestra. So I grew up with it where it was very encouraged, and actually sometimes on Sundays my mom would pull out a song she wanted to sing, and my dad would pull out a few, Mozart violin concertos he wanted to mess with.
Wow, that's really great.
I have his violin now, I'm looking at it, but he never thought he was very good. He said, "Oh, my pitch is horrible." So he got discouraged after a while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I would say they encouraged me. Yes, they did, but
That's great.
they did not want me to go into it as a profession. As if I had children, or my friends who have children, very few of them want their kids to go into it as a profession. It's usually you have to have that conversation. Is there anything else that you're interested in that you would rather do?
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is no, then okay, then do it. If there is, then you might want to think about that. Because
I've been through that with my daughters. My firstborn daughter, Asia, has an amazing voice. When she was 5, she was Annie in the Annie production.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember being a proud dad and being in a band, and I worked at a music store in those days. So I was like the favorite, every band director's dream, man. I was the dream dad. I'd call him up and I said to him, "Hey, how many wireless mics do you need?" And he's like, "Well, we've got 4. It would be like super cool." Yeah. And I'd go, "Well, how many people have you got on stage who have singing parts?" And he's like, "Well, I got like 12.
Oh, well,
I was like, "Okay, don't worry about it. I'll hook you up, man." My guys would show up. You know, we had a PA. We had, you know, the wireless mics for everybody. And they were amazing. And me being a new father at the time, I remember after I saw her, now I'd heard her singing Annie, and I can hear it in my head right now. I'll probably dream that, you know, I'll dream it forever. Like, it won't get out of my head. I'll have an earwig till next week. But I remember the first time, instead of running sound and videotaping and doing all the crap, the last night of the show, went down, sat in the front row and watched it. Instead of watching everything globally, I got to see my kid up there doing it. Some broad behind me goes, "That chick can't sing that way." I turned around. I was like so pissed. I was pissy, man. I turned around and go, "Excuse me, that is my daughter. And I'll tell you what, that is not any damn tape recording, you dimwit." I was so pissed off, you know. But like you mentioned, there came a time where I had to just say, "Listen, Asia, you're a really bright kid." She wanted to be in a band. And she was in drama. She was a drama kid. And I always supported that. But when it came time to go to school, I'm like, don't go to music school unless you want to teach music.
Right.
If that's what you want to do, go, fine. And I said, going to school as a voice major, just if you're going to go to school, make some money. Go into medicine or architecture or something professional, like all of us dream for our kids. We all want them to have a great job. Myself, I just knew how my life's been being a musician. I went back to college late, you know, in my 30s with kids, and you get tied up in life. So both of my daughters ended up going to, you know, conventional careers. One's a teacher and one's a nurse, and high level trauma, triage, all that stuff. But they both turned out good.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they don't miss, they both love music. They listen to it. Asia can sing in the car. She peels paint off the ceiling. And now it's the perfect time in my mind as a dad looking back on, now if you want to sing, go out and play with a band. If you want, go do what you want. Have a little fun.
On your off time as a hobby. It's a great hobby. I've taught a lot of kids when I was growing up and throughout all my years. And I always had regret because I don't think I've had had no students that have actually done it professionally. And I was kind of like, well, because I know lots of other people my age that have a lot of professional guys out there that they taught. And, but I was inspired because I had one kid who was going into being a doctor, and he was in pre-med. And his mom said, he goes, when he's really stressed out, he'll sit down and play the piano, and then he'll go and he'll study. Mm-hmm. And that was the purpose of him learning the piano. So he had something to kind of take the edge off, and he knows how to do it. That
with yourself? I know for myself, music's kept me alive through some difficult times.
Oh yeah.
Not especially just financially, but emotionally, and how you feel about life.
When I was really young, when I was, a teenager, I mean, I would always, if I had a bad day at school, and bad day at school meant, it's so myopic, but a bad day at school did not mean grades. It meant that I didn't feel I was being socially accepted the way I wanted to be socially accepted. Sure. Because, I'm an artist. We're all like masters of our own world, Right.
So, I get it. The jocks didn't know what to do with me.
Yes, exactly. So I would come home and I would like bang on the piano, or just, I would play
it all minor chords.
And after about an hour, I would go, okay, let's have lunch. Let's have dinner.
Yeah, right.
I was okay.
Do you do any teaching now? Do you have any students?
strangely enough, I teach one kid who's really great. And he's a guitar teacher, a guitar student, jazz guitar student. We wanted to learn a little piano, and I
Mhm.
teach a lot of banjo because
Oh,
I
cool.
have one. So, and banjo is something that got really kind of hip a few years ago to learn how to
Sure.
play.
When Bella
Yeah,
Fleck came out, and
yeah. It all of a sudden everybody was wanting to play banjo, but I have very few students now. I usually don't have enough time to say I'll
sure,
see you every Tuesday at 3 o'clock.
right.
And and kids,
They
teaching
need
kids,
that. They need
they
regular. Sure.
exactly. Yeah, I don't have that. So I only have adults. I
Right.
only have
That's
adults
that's
there.
how I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
about.
yeah,
I don't have any students at this point, but I wouldn't do any young people.
yeah.
The bottom line in today's litigious world and stuff, just hanging around with a kid who's a teenager, no matter what you do, there's always that scrutiny. I mean, I used to have my
Yeah.
kid's babysitter, and I'd be like, "My honey, drive her home," because I'm not driving a 14-year-old girl home and having some reputation thing come up. It
Oh, that
happens,
too. Yes, yeah, yeah. It's like
you know.
you're always having to keep the door open and all this kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
and
Yeah,
and and
yeah.
plus the way I was
Weird. It's
raised,
weird.
it is
You
weird
know.
because, like, my family, I'm a hugger. We all
Yeah.
hang around and hug each other.
No,
No,
no, no,
it's not
no,
a
no, no.
sexual thing. It's just
Yeah. There's not.
but you
It's a
got to be
different world.
careful.
It's a different world from when we grew up. And
Definitely.
I understand that, and it's good because there was a lot of weird stuff. There was a lot of weird stuff that happened when I was a kid,
Me
you know,
too.
and we're sexual predators. I ran into them, and
No shit.
I don't know whether we were more savvy or something, but I just, would stay away from them. It's like, that's the weird dude. Just,
I had once a
you
frightening
know.
experience hitchhiking.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that.
I just had
Yeah.
some weird guy, and you know what? It's weird how I was like 15, pretty street smart from growing up in New York. I used to drive
Right.
around the city in my dad's car. I was 15, put the top down in the big Poop de Ville,
Yeah. Right. Of course.
ride around, go get $10 worth of gas.
Sounds
I'll
like a
never forget
dream.
some
Sounds like a
black guy
dream.
up in
Yeah.
Harlem sees me pull up. I thought I'm styling. Me and my buddy are riding
Yeah.
around. I look at him and we're smoking cigarettes. We're like total dorks.
Yeah.
And I go, $10 worth. I'm like sitting on a phone book.
Yeah.
Dude looks at me, shook his head. He goes, he fills up the car. A couple of times we rode around Manhattan. I didn't make it to get on the bridge back to Jersey. I had to go all the way around again. And then how it all ended was I was putting the car back in the garage. My folks were on a cruise, and I knocked the mirror off.
Oh no.
Big old boat of a car in this little garage, man. I tried everything I could do. I called a cousin who had a body shop. I'm like, that you got to.
Yeah.
I'll give you all my paper route money, man.
Those mirrors had like a little. It was like this big. It was attached on the side, like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they were ready to be broken off.
And
They were just
it
waiting.
was like I was in terror till they came home. And of course.
course.
I tried to I tried to weasel my way out. I told them I was washing the car for their return. And being a dumb kid, they're like, go out and look at the gas level and know
Yeah,
exactly. Of course, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yep, got to.
So, enough yapping. Enough about me. I'm just sitting here yapping, having a good time with you.
That's what we do.
What would you like to play today? You got anything cool kicked up?
Oh, I got one. I got a song for my first record, and it's called Medicine Man, which was my first record. I did this. I had, excuse me, I had a major record deal with Geffen Records when that was a record company,
Right.
in the early '90s, and we got the 6-week treatment, which is basically they put it out for 6 weeks, and if nothing happens, then you're done.
Right. You're gone.
You're gone. 6 weeks, not long enough to see.
Boy, that's that's a great shot
Yeah.
at the. God, man. I'm sure the marketing effort was gigantic too.
Oh no, it's like I was told by the record company president. He said, "Hey, so your record's coming out today. This is a great thing. It was, the record's coming out today." He goes, "A lot of the people at this record company really love you guys. They think you're really, really great." He goes, "Myself, I don't get it." This is what he said. I don't get it. He goes, and then he went on to say, he goes, you look like my rabbi. That's what he said to me.
Oh,
goes,
no shit.
Yes. And and he goes, you're not five skinny guys with guitars. He goes, I don't know if we know what to do with you guys.
You know, but you know what? I think
but he was
business
honest
got
at least.
worse. It was those young guys though who thought it was an old guy, like Frank Zappa said. The old guys
Oh yes.
would sit and go, "Well, I don't know what the fuck it is,
Yeah,
but
so they
we'll
just
put it
let
out."
whatever happen. Yeah, exactly. If
And
it
in this
sticks,
case, all these suits came into it. These
Yeah.
young hip rockers. You know the guys with the blow, and they're
yeah, of course.
always moving and shucking and jiving, and you know everybody hates them. You tolerate them being around in the music industry because you kind of have to suck up to them at that point.
Of course you do.
But at the same time, man, there's some of the most reckless and depraved individuals.
Well, those are the guys that were probably not cool in high school, and this is
right
now it's their chance. It's like my wife was in radio, and she said all the radio guys were the nerdiest guys you ever met, but now they had power, and they were going to use
so
it.
Hip and
oh God, yes.
It's like new. I had once had a kid who was working for Jefferson Starship, and I was a monitor engineer for this show, a bunch of acts, and he came in and started yelling at the band that opened for him, and they had to play an extra hour and a half because those guys were late. And then he comes over, and I saw him bullying people on stage, and I was just like looking at him going, don't come over here to my corner. I'm in monitor land. I'll spray you down with a fire extinguisher, you know. He came over, and he's like so proud of his past and shit, and he comes up and he's like, you got to get them to clear this stage. Whoa. I told him, man, you need to go back up on stage, get on the bus, turn around, come back out and try again because I got shit to do and you're late. Yeah. So check your attitude. I got shit to do. Come back. He's like, I work with Paul Kantner. I'm like, yeah, you're his cigarette guy. Now shut up. You know, go roll a joint for him. Oh, we're being called on the hotline. We'll leave that for another day. But yeah, music's full of these interesting characters, and you know. Let's hear you play some music, man.
Okay, this song is called Medicine Man, and there's two stories behind this. One is I wrote this in Memphis while we were having riots in Los Angeles, which now I realize is 1995, I believe it is.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a long time ago. And so I was, inspired to write stuff. All this has nothing to do with that. It more has to do with this girl that came to see me on the bus, and she was a friend of mine from Los Angeles, and we were hanging out, and I took a picture of her, and later I looked at the picture of her, and I realized in the picture it was like, I think that she was there for another reason than just to be a friend. And it was the first time I actually kind of hit my head, like many months later. Luckily that didn't happen because I don't think we would have been friends after that. So,
all right,
that's kind of what this song is about, but just very slightly, because as you know, poetic license,
Hi, Annette. Here we are, Parlapiano on Live Neve. Parlapiano.
That's it, man.
Give me a sign. Girl in the white dress is who is to blame. All of this madness, medicine man, lend me an ear. Don't try to fight it. Give me your heart, and I will ignite it. Medicine man, yeah. Medicine man, yeah. Fill your prescription, give you anything you need. I won't have to fall right up, won't have to bleed. Fill your prescription, child. Now my heart is in your hands. You could be my little girl, I'll be your medicine man, yeah. Crossing the line without any reason, nothing but time, nothing but feeling. Medicine man, give me your sign. The tide is now turning. All of those years, love that was running. Medicine man, yeah. anything you need. I can fix your heart right up, won't have to bleed. Fill your prescription, child. Now my heart is in your hands. You could be my little girl, be your medicine man. Yeah. Fill your prescription, give her anything you need. Anything, anything, anything you need. Give her anything you need.
All right, all right. Phil
All right, man.
Parlapiano. That was nice. Nice
Oh,
tune.
thank you. Oh, thank
Really
you.
good. I'm sitting here going, all right, I got a cajon here, and I'm ready to jam. I'm ready to roll. Thank
Go
you.
on.
Yeah. So Toby sent a request to hear Medicine Man, which I love that song.
Yes.
And if you feel like
Yeah, I
playing
did.
that.
That's what I just played.
Oh, that was it. Okay, sorry. I was just listening to I wasn't listening to the lyrics, but
No problem.
great song. I like
Thank
it.
you.
What else did you like to play? We're at that point in the show where it's kind of free form. Play whatever you feel comfortable with.
Okay. Let me see if I can. Here's a song that I wrote for the second record, which was called Piano Forte. It's a little like a little play on my name.
Mm-hmm.
Because forte is piano. It means soft, loud is what piano forte means. A lot of people don't know that, but and there's a great singer-songwriter. His name is. I'll play Menthol Cigarette next. This one's called The Shape of Water. I wrote this with a really great singer-songwriter named Steve Moose, who lives out here.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote a lot of these great words. And actually, it's called The Shape of Water. And strangely enough, I played on the movie The Shape of Water, which won an Academy Award. And I did actually pitch this song for the movie when I heard I was going to play for it. I go, I have a song called The Shape of Water, but then
Excellent.
it didn't make it, but I tried.
Hey, gotta give it, man. You never know.
Let's see if I remember this.
All right, here we are, people. Phil Parlapiano.
And I still cannot drift and sleep into our graves now. Sweet briar thorn, and I just want to be reborn over the waves now. I am shaking the dreamland tree, bringing down dreams for me in the shape of water. In the shape of water. Well, I love my guitars, God and the whiskey bar. Still I must say now, she made me forget I was born with the dead man's debt that I can't pay now. I am chasing the dreamland tree, bringing down melodies in the shape of water. In the shape of water. In the shape of water. Water rose, blooms in the day by the banks of the river. banks of the city made a poor man cry. I am climbing the dreamland tree, bringing down memories in the shape of water, in the shape of water.
Man, very nice. That just a sweet melody.
Oh, thank you.
Really, really a nice song.
I
So
really
we've got Toby's still. Toby, what are you talking about? The creature loved hard-boiled eggs.
in the movie. In the
Okay.
movie, yeah.
I have to check this movie out. It's just creatures that like eggs. It sounds. The fact that you're playing on it, I want to hear it.
It's a movie about a creature from the Black Lagoon, basically updated version, which is kind of strange.
Okay, well, I have to check it out. I grew up on all those horror movies and Bela Lugosi and Creature Feature.
You've been talking about Netflix, and I find the only thing I can find worth watching are those movies right now. So I watched Earth versus the Spider. I don't know if you've seen that. Yes, really horrible.
Really awful, but it's like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yes,
it has
I watched one. It's actually listed as the worst movie of all time. It's called Egad.
Egad. I'm surprised I've missed that because I've seen some really crappy horror movies.
It's about a caveman who is played by the guy who played Jaws in all the 007 movies.
Oh, right. He's a scary looking dude.
Yes, he was. So he was a caveman, but he was very young. It was the 1960 this movie came out.
He's the tallest caveman you'd ever find.
That's what the whole thing was. He was supposed to be a giant caveman, and he comes and he terrorizes the city, and it's really, really super bad.
Is that like Encino Man, the caveman?
Encino Man. I think that
Toby,
movie was
have
better.
you ever dated Encino Man? Tell it all, Toby. Time for some true confession. It'll do the soul well.
Yeah, probably
Poor Toby, I'm picking on her. Gina, what about that? Do you know anything about the creature? The Encino Man? I thought that movie was great. I was like a young stoner when I saw it, though, so it was aimed at my demographic.
Who was in that? Was that that guy?
I don't
that guy
recall.
Was the guy.
Toby, I've got her. She's pissed now. Look at her. I am not. I know, Toby. You got high standards. I'm just messing with you, honey. I love you. I've seen people, just walking the street that seem to be some sort of alien. I don't know. I'd call me silly, but sometimes people just have that kind of funny eye. It's like watching Men in Black. If you live in New York long enough, you see weird shit at weird hours of the morning. Unexplainable things.
I see that here too. Believe me.
Oh, I know. You guys have the market cornered,
Oh yeah, we have crazy people. Yeah,
definitely. And they like to go to places. I don't blame them. Would you rather live in New York or LA or go live out in Iowa and be a bum? If you're going to be homeless, at least be somewhere where it's going on, and the sun's shining.
Yeah. I always wondered that myself. Why don't they move to the desert? But I guess it's probably because it's pretty boring out there.
Yeah, the desert would make me crazy. It's just like so. I like to drive through it. Like going on 10 and going to Vegas from LA or vice versa is a great drive. You can go by the Sam Kinison Memorial. I'm sorry, it's terrible. His last words.
The desert is it's a really, a lot of people from Los Angeles moved to Joshua Tree, and it's like I went there. My wife and I went there to look at a place, and we're like, we do not want to live here at all.
Yeah. I don't see the attraction. Plus, you're out in the desert. It's so god awful hot.
Yeah, it's really hot.
It's like that in Phoenix. My friend lives there, and I went to visit him. I drove all the way down from Vegas, go through Sedona, God's country. Just had a great time. I get down there and I want to take him out to dinner. Well, as soon as I got into town, I opened the door to my car. I felt like I put my head in a pizza oven.
Oh yeah. It's just that
It was
hot.
just insane. And they
Yeah.
go, well, it's a dry heat. I'm like, yeah, like a pizza oven. You put your head
Yeah.
in there and it's got a mob movie. They're going to throw you in there if you act up.
I know. I had a friend who moved to Palm Springs because he was actually able to buy a house, and I go, "How's it, Palm Springs?" So, well, I'm getting used to how hot it is here, and I go, "Yeah, I know it's really hot, right?" Because he grew up.
Right.
He actually, for the last 30 years, he's been living in Santa Monica. So talk about a big change.
A little bit of a breeze there, at least, you know. Come on, Jesus, God!
Yes.
I loved going around when I've been to Palm Springs and just looking at like the celebrity homes.
Oh yeah.
You know, not Don
D. Martin,
Rickles.
Frank Sinatra,
Yeah.
D. Martin.
All
Yeah.
those places are just like unbelievable, you know. And I admit I was as starstruck as anybody else. I'm riding around kind of lost with a map. I've looked in like Architectural Digest, you know, Bob Hope's house. Now that one was just unbelievable, you know.
Right.
I guess it's out of my price range. I don't know. Maybe you can fit it into your budget next year. I don't know.
Yeah. Anything over like 15 million is out of my price range.
Yeah, I know.
I think so.
I offered them 12 and they just laughed me away.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, get out of here. You can't afford this. Yeah,
No.
exactly. No, but you know, it's a good place to visit. Lots of good stuff goes on there, you know. But yeah, I would want to live.
I don't know how Marston, the violin or cellist, I don't know how he does his gigs out there. Plays in the summertime, and it's like out in Palm Springs in the middle of the desert in the summer. It's just got to be incredibly hot.
Really hot, yeah.
You know?
I can't imagine it either. But
so, with all these years you've been playing, do you get asked to do holiday specials at the holiday season? Have you done a lot of gigs? Do you have gigs like that coming up?
I don't have any this year. I mean, I do. I have done like cocktail hours. And my old partner and I did a Christmas record actually a few years ago.
Right.
So we sometimes played songs off of that. We would play like over at Largo or something like that. That was fun. But right now I do a holiday show over at the Disney's California Adventure with a klezmer band. But I'm not the leader. But yeah, I play the accordion, a klezmer band. So I do that. I like playing a few holiday things. It kind of puts me in the spirit. I love the holiday season. I kind of am one of the stupid people that wouldn't mind if it was 2 or 3 times a year.
Sure.
Yeah. Midnight Mission, Christmas music. Thank you. Yes, we played Midnight Mission, but that was Thanksgiving, and that's almost a holiday. That's almost Christmas. Right now, Christmas starts like what after
Labor Day
Halloween.
or something.
After Halloween, I think it starts for real.
I swear here, I saw in New Jersey, like right after Labor Day, I started seeing like at the CVS drugstore, they're bringing in pallets of shit for Halloween or Christmas rather. Excuse me.
Christmas. Yeah. No, well, they want to make sure that, you know, the last 3 years, they really, they got far behind. So they want to make sure that this year people buy stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
And everything, like, God, you know, I'm a chocolate freak. I don't drink, and I love eating chocolate. And boy, it is bloody expensive.
Yes.
Whoa! Look at this. We're having poltergeist activity again.
More lights
what
falling.
The hell is going on? Do you see that?
Yes. Yeah.
Our demonologist isn't here, so. All right, we got the Foley going. I like it. It's really weird though. I've got 2 lights just out of the blue. I don't know. So how about playing some holiday music? You know,
holiday music.
Give us something off your record, maybe.
Oh, geez. Let me see if I have.
Oh, I don't have to put you on the spot. Whatever.
No. Let me see if I have it here. I will definitely play it. Let me see. I have to go to all songs. All songs, and I think the only song I ever played was "Oh Come Emmanuel."
Well, here's a Christmas favorite Toby mentioned called "Throw Me Under the Bus." That's a holiday favorite. I'm not going to tell you my bus story, but all I can say is I was behind the bus, and I told the band leader that I was done with his crappy act, and I watched him flip the bus as he turned the corner. I was riding behind him. And
really?
To my terror, I'm going, "You're going to have to stop, man." I'm thinking in my head, what is he doing? Got to slow down, slow down. And he turned right, and the bus just turned up on 2 wheels. He He barely made it around the corner before it started to flip, and he flipped and then went down the post.
That's
Toby,
horrible.
I know it's not a holiday song. I'm being facetious. I'm sorry. My satire gene is firing at the moment.
She knows one of my songs is called "You Threw Me Under the Bus," and I will. It's a song, but I can do that. But I have to tell you a story that kind of relates to that. So you kind of you felt like you cursed him, and okay, so I'm in. I was in Texas somewhere. I think one of those like SeaWorld it was. And there was a road manager of we were an opening band, and the road manager or the guitar tech, he was so mean to us that every time he saw us, I would say, "Hey," and he would scoff. He'd go like that, right? Yeah, you're like,
what a guy.
And so we're on our way, and we're going up this trail. You had to go up the kind of trail that kind of was like a dirt trail all the way to SeaWorld where you played the gig. So it's this kind of like thing.
Really a fun load in. It sounds.
Yeah, it was a fun load in. So it was a thing, and I had just said I was coming out of my bus, and I said, "Hey," and he said, "Ah," and so then he was walking in front of me and my buddy, and he was walking in front up this thing, and I said to my friend, I go, "That guy said he's such a jerk." Goes, "I wish he would fall and break his leg," and bam, and he did right that second. He fell, and then the next time I saw him, he had a cast on his leg. I'm like, "Oh my God, what did I do?" And I never told him.
No. Remember what Hannibal Lecter would say? Basically, God sometimes drops a church on his worshipers. So savor the moment. Perhaps God has a sense of humor, and he just felt he was a putz. I don't know.
But it was just so immediate. It was crazy. It was like the second I said it to my friend. My friend looked at me. It's like, "Ah!"
I love it. That's just karma. God does have a sense of humor. I'm still alive, so I believe that's a point of fact. Toby said a John Prine tune might work good.
Oh, let me do a John Prine song instead. Let me see.
For those of you watching, Phil has played with John Prine for a long time, and we talked last time on our interview, and maybe if we have a little time left, we'll talk about it. But hell, let's have him play some.
Here's a song he wrote with Pat McLaughlin. It's called "Daddy's Little Pumpkin."
Must be Daddy's little pumpkin, I can tell by the way you roll. You must be Daddy's little pumpkin, I can tell by the way you roll. Going down and that's it, 11:15, sleeping on the bedroom floor. Oh, I can see the fire burning, baby, burning right behind your eyes. I can see the fire burning, baby, burning right behind your eyes. You must have swallowed a kid, some other kind of surprise. Well, I'm going down to Memphis, got $300 in cash. I'm going down to Memphis, got $300 in cash. All them women in Memphis want to see how long my money will last. Not very long. I'm going downtown, I'm gonna rattle somebody's cage. No, I'm going downtown, I'm gonna rattle somebody's cage. I'm gonna beat on my guitar, start all around the stage. If you see my baby coming, don't you tell her daddy's in jail. If you see my baby coming, don't you tell her daddy's in jail. She said a little pumpkin just to raise a sweet daddy's mail. You know the daddy's little pumpkin, I can tell by the way you roll. It's daddy's little pumpkin, I can tell by the way you roll. Well, you never do nothing to save your doggone soul.
Woo-ah!
Yeah, that's slightly different than he did it. he did a little more bluegrassy, but I like to play a little blues. It actually was a blues song, so
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
it's definitely got that old. You can see any of the old cats doing that back in
And
the day.
I liked it because Halloween was his favorite holiday, and
Hmm.
orange was his favorite color. So that's why he wrote the song about the pumpkin orange.
Ah,
Yes.
so what else what do you play when you go out? What John Prine songs do you do aside from that one? Do you play some of his music when you're just out doing your gigs?
Every once in a while, there was a song we wrote together called "Leave the Lights On" that I play every once in a while, and that's another little blues song. But
Hmm.
some of my favorite songs are very, they're very slow and
Right.
quite depressing.
There
So
were some that were
yeah,
quite depressing.
so
There was some that were
not really
so
bar
funny too.
not really bar material. Yeah, but yeah, the funny ones I really haven't learned, like "Let's Talk Dirty" in Hawaiian. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
"Big Old Goofy World" is another great one that he wrote there. He had a really good sense of humor. He always told
absolutely.
me, he goes, "Well, what I do when I go to write a song," he had a great writing ethic, which was really not. I'm joking because he always said, he goes, "Well, I'll write," because I think of the craziest thing in my head and I write about that. So that was his advice. And then the other thing was, he goes, "Well, I sit down to write. A friend of mine comes over and we sit there, we talk, and we talk about what we're going to write about. And then an hour passes and we go, hey, you want to get some lunch?" He goes, "Yeah, okay." So they get some lunch and they come back and I like work a little bit more and they go, "Hey, it's about 5 o'clock. You want to get a drink?" And they go and get a few drinks. And he says most of the time they don't write a song, but they have a good time. And then every once in a while
Yeah,
they write a song. And it would be like kind of in the middle of doing all the other stuff, they would write a song. So
right,
he
right.
was really he was such a social animal. I really miss him, but his whole life revolved around hanging out with his friends and playing cards. He loved cards.
I
It
love
was
to
just,
play cards.
oh, I love to play cards. Oh my gosh.
Did he ever take your pocket, pick it, playing? Did
Uh,
you ever lose any money to him?
you know what? I learned really, I don't play any games because I'm not very good at them. So I learned quickly not to do
Hey, I'm the
it.
same way. They would snooker me. I have to admit it. My girlfriend plays cards very well, and she could just take me to the cleaner. So the last card game I played was like 21, and it was back when I was in school, and some of the kids in the dorm would play it, and I'd like,
Yeah.
hey, is that easy enough for a drummer? You know, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Well, what else would you like to play? We're almost out of time, but I'd like you to play. What are your favorite songs when you're out
let,
gigging?
let me play the song that Toby recommended, "Under the Bus." You threw me under the bus. It's about being thrown under the bus, which is a great subject, these days. And I wrote this with a friend of mine, Steve Moose, who's a really, like I said, the guy who wrote the other song with "Shape of Water," and he
Okay.
came up with this line, "being thrown under the bus." So it goes something like this.
I love it.
Threw me under the bus. Threw me under the bus, and the wheels went whoosh, whoosh, whoosh over my poor head. Yeah. Such a lonely place to be. And my buddies worked at the same plant for a boss as cruel as he was ignorant. So we decided to tell him good. I spoke my mind first, no hesitation. It's when I looked for some cooperation. It's when I knew exactly where I stood. You threw me under the bus. You threw me under the bus, and the wheels went whoosh, whoosh, whoosh over my poor head. Such a low down place to be. Do you remember when you would stalk me, call me in the night just to talk to me into having a rendezvous? Then your man began to suspect me. In the atmosphere, will he detect me? That's when you told him I'd be bothering you. You threw me under the I'm wised up, well, I am learning. Too many times I've been burned by that wrong piece of oil and wood. Don't you stand there calling me brother. I don't trust nobody but my mother, and I think she'd been jiving me too. Threw me under the bus, threw me under the bus, and the wheels went whoosh, whoosh, whoosh over my poor head. Threw me under the bus, you threw me under the bus, and the wheels went whoosh, 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 whoosh. Whoosh, 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 whoosh.
That is a very fine song.
Oh,
I love that. I just love to play drums behind it. I can hear it having you do it with the band. Do you have a version of that out where you're playing with the band on your CD?
Well, on the CD, the last record, which was called "The Mordacious Mr. Squeeze," I have that song and quite a few other ones too.
Great.
But
well,
yeah,
I'll give it a listen. I like it.
Yeah, please do. It's available anywhere. You know.
Excellent. Well, I think that's great. I mean, we've only got a couple more minutes.
Okay.
You know, thanks for being on. I always love having you on to talk music, and I look forward to seeing you. Are you playing Sunday this week?
I am going to do my Facebook Live at 10 o'clock. Yeah, of course.
All right. Well,
I like to do that. It's my little moment of gratitude. A little bit like a church sermon, but without the without all
the tomfoolery.
Yeah, with all the religious stuff involved. Yes.
Yeah. I like it because it is educational, and on Sunday it's nice to just hear. I just enjoy it. It's like the one day of the week where I try to not do anything, but things always intrude in our business. Phones ring, and you're like, I want to be off, but you never know. It's the next phone call.
You got that right.
Well, I hope to get to see you next time I'm out. And if you're here in New York, I'll keep an eye on you. If you come here, we'll get together.
Okay, man.
All right.
I'll let you know. It's been great being on your show.
Anytime. Toby, thank you for watching. Everybody, I appreciate it. And here we are. It's the first week. We're a couple of weeks away from the holidays. So be nice, have fun, and just enjoy this time of year. Just a little slack. Good night, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. Live with Neve will be back next Friday at 10.